all the time. And that's kind of the thing. Now I'm going to do a hard pivot and get to some of the things regarding starting your podcast. And I definitely want to mention this because when Coach Tony came to me a while back and said, Val, I want to start my own podcast. And I was thinking, okay, all right, what do you want to talk about? It's going to be a sports podcast. I'm a coach. That's what we're going to be talking about. I'm like, all right, bet. And then a lot of people, I had this article written, the ultimate podcast pre-launch checklists for beginners. And it is currently living in the space of purelighthouse.media.com. And I wanted to just kind of give kind of a little bit of a breakdown of what's covered, because when you're trying to start your podcast, you need to know what your genre is. Would you agree with that, Coach?
Yeah, because y'all got it easy because Val whooped my ass doing that. What you going to talk about? What you going to do? What you going to do? What you going to say? How we going to lay it out? I need a format. I need to know exactly what you're talking about, what the topic going to be, who going to be the guest. We ain't going to have no guests. You going to talk to yourself. You ain't going to talk to yourself. I'm like, damn. So I had some homework. I didn't have this guardrails up on the highway. I was turning curves with no guardrail.
If you're gonna start your own podcast, I don't know if I was that bad. That's a little.
Hey,
rough.
but it was
That's
good. The pull up is rolling.
Okay.
Because if you didn't take me through the grind, you know what I mean, and I think you did that because you knew I could take it. But you took me through the grind, and I think it made both of us better persons because after that, you came back and launched How to Start Your Podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to make sure that I did that. But number one, in starting your podcast, you got to make sure that you come up with your niche and your unique value. For Coach Tony, his unique value is that he is a coach and he loves talking sports. If you talk to Tony, wait a minute, let me stop sharing for a second. You talk to Tony. I gotta do this real quick. You talk to Tony and you want to know exactly which teams to,
So purposes only.
For promotional purposes only. You lean on Coach, him right there, and he'll be able to say, based on what I know about the players and what I've seen, I'm able to let you know who could win. But that's beside the point.
As I picked off a big one last night doing a pull-up, I had them Bears winning in Washington last night. Thank you, Woody. We got you from San Fran, but you kicked that field goal with 3 seconds on the clock to avenge a loss last year. Hail Mary and end zone, if you remember that, Val.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. And I'm so proud of our Bears. I've been praying for them to win, but that's neither here or there. Before you plug in your microphone, and this is what I told Coach, and you hit the button to record, you need to get real clear about why you want to start this podcast. Coach wanted to share and have on other either athletic directors, coaches, and other people that have been either former or current players.
Correct.
In football, basketball, tennis,
baseball,
name it.
Yep.
Baseball. We've had them all. We've had some very talented people come through the Pull Up Podcast show, and it's because Coach Tony was very clear on step one. Concept development, define your niche and your unique value. And Coach, you have a unique value. Would you agree?
Man, I do. And I really think that I can kind of credit all that to you because I remember you telling me, hey, what you need to do is get out in front. So once you figure out and determine what you're going to do, and let's talk about the topics. And then once I found out my topic and then me being a coach, it made it easy. Then you said, hey, let's make sure we stay 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 guests ahead of schedule, just in case someone cancels, something happened, we got to move a show around and all that. And once I started doing that, it was cool. And that first season, I was calling people up, trying to get people on. They were like, Tony, who? Oh, bye. Hang the phone up.
Oh, no, that was happening to you?
Oh, yeah. But after that first year, they were like, hey, man, why ain't you have me on the podcast? And I was like, who is this? I was hanging up on them because we had to establish some ground. But it was cool because you got to go down that rough path. And as Val's mentioning, the niche, what you want to talk about, and then just understand the other piece is if you're going to have people on your podcast, then you need to figure out how you're going to go about trying to get them to get on the show. Because sometimes that's work within itself. And Val will tell you, I've chased a lot of my guests over a year, like literally over 13, 14 months to get on my show, 8 months, 9 months, especially the big guests. I think the biggest guest I've chased that was probably the shortest time period may have been like 45 to 60 days.
Yeah.
So it's easy.
Number 2 is branding. Create a look or sound that stands out. One of the testimonies that I have for producing the Pull Up Podcast show was that Coach had in mind. I asked him, I says, we need to come up with an original song or an original sound for your platform. Right. I was blessed because my cousin gave me the theme music that I currently use today. And this was just sitting on his computer, but it's original and I never have to worry about it being sued. But the fun part about creating a look and a sound that stands out is that Coach told me, these are my colors. I'm a Kappa. So these are the colors I like in here. Also, don't worry about it. You want me to come up with a theme song? I got you.
Gotcha.
And what happened with that after that, Coach?
Man, it was like, I want the work. I started to sit up, and I never forget when you and I were talking about, you kept talking about, okay, Coach, it's the pull up. So, what are you talking about? You talking about pull up jump shot, pull up this and that. And I never forget telling you, I said, well, Val, believe it or not, has nothing to do with basketball. It was basically from my son and the kids around me. They were like, at the time, the language was, the young kids were like, man, you want to get at me, man? Pull up on me, pull up on me. So I'm like, So now I can catch the young kids. And so when I started to put the song together, I reached out to my nephew. For those that don't know, his name is Demetrius Jarman, aka Young Farrah, and my boy Tizone, which is a famous recording writer, and Kenny P out of Atlanta, straight up with the beats, all Chicago guys now living in Atlanta. So I said, man, I had an idea of what I wanted to do. So one day they just dropped me a lot of beats, Val. And I remember telling you were like, what are you doing? I was like, Val, I'm in the studio. You're like, studio? I'm like, it's midnight. It was crazy because these dudes, 10 o'clock, 11, 12 o'clock, they was sending me, man, check this out, Coach. And one day I'm sitting in, and then I'm with, of all people, Skylar, my granddaughter. And she's in the car. I'm like, it's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. And I had no idea what I was doing. And then she just started saying, the Pull Up Podcast, it's the Pull Up Podcast. I said, wait a minute. So then I get the beat. They send me the beat. And I started putting it together. And next thing you know, I'm like, okay. And then they say, well, okay, look at your show and how can we incorporate everybody? I'm like, well, Val, okay, wait a minute, Val, that's the voice that you hear all the time. And then when she's talking to me, of course, I got Kay Sprinkles in the back engineering a lot of stuff for both shows, doing something. And of course, me, I had the sports show. So I said, I want to incorporate Interludes, Talk on Tuesday, and what we got going on. And then I started to put the lyrics together, and man, it just became a hit. And when they dropped the hit and put it all together and I let them do it, I get people that come on the show now, Val, say, I stay on the show at the end of the show just to listen to the track. Love it.
I know. So I think that's what's most important, that you're able to do that, and you come up with that branding, the colors you like to use. You've already established what niche you want to do. And then some people, you want to start with your name, choose something that's easy to remember. Coach Tony is easy for me to remember. And then, of course, for myself, I went on a couple of branding looks. And so I came up with this concept of, okay, well, let me see what colors work for Coach. And it was about making sure that I had something that would be, and I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it right now. Here we go. I wanted to make sure that I found the colors and the schemes that would work best for Coach. And for him, it was black, white, red. This is a little bit of my color in here, but I have I
Plus,
went
I'm a
to.
Bulls fan, and you and I were both big Bulls fan.
We were both Bulls fans.
It
Yes,
was perfect
exactly.
because
And
that's
then
the
he gave
exact same Bulls colors, red, black, and white.
right, and you gave me a picture of you standing against something. It was
It's a billboard at school, in my
mhm.
locker room, in the gymnasium, and I loved how you cut that background out. I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that I had that. And then when he gave me the song, and I think I got the song maybe about a month
We launched.
before we launched, and I was scrambling to make sure that I edited something that was to the rhythm, to the beat, to the cadence of what we had. And
Mhm.
so when you are branding, that's important in that. And then the last step I want to talk about, and there's six of them, but I'm gonna stop at three. Your tech setup, get the right tools. For myself, Coach had been using his cell phone for a camera to record, and I've now been using my camera. I was using a much bigger camera that I used to take photos with, but setting up your tech, sometimes it could be as simple as making sure that you have headphones, a regular microphone, something that's a little bit different that you can connect to your computer. And then if you're thinking about recording software, we're right now, we're streaming to about 5 or 6 different platforms, but our main platform for us is StreamYard. It could be for other folks. It could be Odyssey. It could be a garage band. It could be other things that you use, but you want to make sure that you have headphones. Coach has his headphones on. You want to make sure you have a microphone. You have your mic too, right, Coach?
Oh yeah, and I'm telling you guys, trust
Mm-hmm.
me. Val wore me out about that because I did the whole first year off my phone. And what was happening, and if I can give you guys some tidbits that she's telling you what you need, I'm just gonna give you because I'm the one that was feeling it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we always talk behind the stage when we get out the show, but the phone was overheating at sometimes. Val didn't tell you that. And
Yeah.
not the fact of the matter that it was an old phone. I got a brand new phone, but it was that because I had done so many shows and the shows started to stack up on my phone. So it started overheating. Val, like, well, you got to get off that phone. We got to go get, I don't care. We got to go get you a mic. I don't care what we got. So I was laughing. So I ended up eventually getting a computer and that worked out. But I'm going to tell you guys, to me, one of the most important things that you have to do, and I've been able to learn it on my own, has been able to be positive, and I actually been able to give Val some feedback that we're doing on Interludes is helping out. But you have to have an avenue if you're going to have guests. So if you're never going to have guests, don't worry about this. If you're just going to get on and talk about how to design a dress or how to make shoes or whatever you're going to do, it's on you. But if you're going to have a guest, and I've done a hell of a good job of doing that, and Val always asked me, how are you getting people to do X, Y, and Z? And I tell people, I am a huge LinkedIn. I got like 20,000 folks on LinkedIn. And I didn't realize it until me and Val started to get together that I started to tap back into those people. Tap back into
Mm-hmm.
as you always say, tap back to your sources. So what I started to do was I was tap back into my LinkedIn people. I would look at them depending on what they were doing, what they were all about, congratulate them on one thing or two things, whether it be a promotion, becoming a new coach, assistant coach, head coach, a camp, whatever they were doing. And then I started to say, hey, man, I got a podcast, man. We need to bring you on this show and talk about what you were doing. Because I originally told Val when I put the podcast together, it wasn't so much of trying to go out and get the Michael Jordans of the world, but it was kind of trying to find the diamonds of the roughs of the world. And then when me and Val figured that piece out and I started to bring those diamonds on, everything else started to snowball.
I love that. I love that. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying that as well. And so that's just a little bit of some of the things that Coach learned in in the heat of the fire of actually doing the podcast. But of course, we want to make sure that you guys go ahead and check out the article, which I am totally proud of. Coach, I'm sitting up here like, oh, okay, you guys wrote this up, and they were like, yeah, we of course we can write this up for you. So it's
Right?
kind of the six steps to get started what you should know before you launch your podcast. And I just want to cover 3. There's 6 of them, but definitely number 1, you want to make sure that you have a concept development and define what your niche is going to be. Number 2, you want branding and a look and a sound that stands out. You want it to be yours. You don't want to copy off of anybody. And number 3, do a tech setup and get the right tools. It's very easy to make sure that you do that. And if you want more information regarding how to set up your podcast, please visit purelighthouse.media.com, and under blog, you can see it. It's right there in the dead center. The Ultimate Podcast Pre-Launch Launch Checklist for Beginners. And then, of course, if you want to set up time with me, also go to purelighthouse.media.com. Oh my gosh. So I figured I would just go ahead and do that. And who's saying this? Someone's mentioned that they're a podcast producer as well. Thank you. Appreciate you as well.
There you go. I need to have you on my podcast, Val Johnson.